Throughout the war, the Black Sea Grain Initiative has been a lifeline for Ukraine and the world. The deal brokered by Turkey and the United Nations allowed ships to carry Ukrainian food exports via the Black Sea ports since last summer. Prior to the war, this was the route for over 90% of Ukraine's export. Russia upheld its end of the deal until July this year, when it put forward new demands and eventually pulled out of the agreement. This decision created additional pressure in relations between Ukraine and Central European countries, which have been experiencing their own issues related to the export of agricultural goods. Here's what you need to know.
In the last couple of weeks or even months, we see that one of the biggest problems for Ukraine at the moment is the question of Ukrainian grain export. As we know, since the middle of July, Russia again blocked the grain corridor via the Black Sea, which created a tremendous cost for the Ukrainian economy. Grain is one of the most important commodity exported by Ukraine, and at the same time, we see that the fact that Russia blocked the corridor via the Black Sea created a growing tensions between Ukraine and the nations of Central Europe, because the only alternative, currently at least, for the Ukrainian grain export are Central European countries' markets, and also those regions serve as a transit corridor to other countries.
Ukraine is not part of the common EU market, and some of its exported goods were subject to duties and quotas. Last June, however, the European Commission took an unprecedented decision to lift tariffs on Ukrainian exports to help the Ukrainian economy under the Russian siege.
After a few months, it has started to create some tensions in the relations between Ukraine and Central European nations, especially countries like Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania and Bulgaria, because a substantial part of the Ukrainian grain export came to those markets. And in late April, beginning of May this year, under the pressure from those five countries, the European Commission decided to ban Ukrainian grain export on those five markets, but not the Ukrainian grain export on the rest of the European Union.
The ban has been imposed only on the markets of the five countries and concerns select Ukrainian agricultural products: wheat, corn, rapeseed, and sunflower seeds.
But the rest of the European Union is still non-tariffs place where Ukrainian exporters can export their products, including agricultural products. Another important point is that neither Poland nor four rest European Union countries ban a transit of Ukrainian agricultural products via their territory. And I would like to stress it because it's contrary to the Prime Minister of Ukraine wrote a few weeks ago when he mentioned in his tweet in Twitter that Poland allegedly blocked also transit of Ukrainian grain via Polish territory, which is basically not true.
Behind imposing the ban were both political and economic issues.
The decision taken by those five governments was basically provoked by the farmers' lobby, which are traditionally strong in this country. So rivalry with cheaper Ukrainian grain products is a growing problem for the farmers from these five countries. An important context are political elections in two countries. This is Slovakia late September this year, and a parliamentary election in Poland in the middle of October. So those countries plus Romania, Hungary, and Bulgaria, as I mentioned already, decided to ban this for agricultural products for some time. Basically, we have a ban valid until the middle of September, but probably it will be prolonged until the end of this year.
From February 2022 to May 2023, a total of 29.5 million tons of agricultural products went to EU countries, of which 11.3 million tons to the five Central European countries, 38.2% of the total. Central Europe remains one of the most important markets for Ukrainian grain products. Russia's blockade of the grain corridor is an attempt to create tension between neighboring agricultural producers.
And this is the reason why we observe this strong pressure from the Ukrainian government on those five countries who decided to temporarily ban Ukrainian products. I would say especially pressure on Poland, because Kiev perceived Poland as the country which is the most important in the region, in the sense that it was, according to what Ukrainians are saying, the initiator. Poland was the initiator of this ban introduced by the 5 countries. At the same time, I think that Ukrainian government is not very diplomatic in their statements. Especially, we should take into account that the Central European countries, except of Hungary, but with Poland as the most important, are the crucial aid providers to Ukraine. And I'm talking about military assistance, I'm talking about the humanitarian assistance, financial, and also as an important host countries for Ukrainian refugees, with, you know, the crucial place for Poland.
In its Ukraine support tracker, the Kiel Institute for World Economy shows that Central European countries, excluding Hungary, have been the biggest providers of assistance to Ukraine. Set against the respective countries' GDP, Poland's aid amounts to a substantial contribution of 3.2% of its GDP.
We have to remember that there would not be this kind of tensions between Ukraine and the neighboring countries without the Russian blockade of the Black Sea. So therefore, this is extremely important to have these international efforts to press Russia to lift their blockade. This is a part of the broader Russian efforts to bleed out Ukrainian economy. So probably Russia will take the blockade of the Black Sea as long as it will need it, especially knowing that it creates these tensions between Kiev and Warsaw, Kiev and Sofia, Kiev and Bucharest, and so on. At the same time, we see the goodwill from those Central European nations to help Ukrainian also to help with the transit of Ukrainian grain products via Polish, Slovakian, Hungarian, and Romanian territories. But at the same time, we have to remember that this war have different fronts. Military is definitely the most important, but there is also economic front. And this is extremely important for Ukrainian economy to survive. And without the international pressure, not only Western countries' pressure, but also global South, Turkey and other countries' pressure. China also is an important actor here. So without those international pressure on Russia to unblock the grain corridor via the Black Sea, this situation will create more tensions between, on the one hand, Ukraine and the neighboring countries, and on the other hand, it will maximize problems of Ukrainian economy.
Thank you for watching, and if you want to know more, you'll find the links to our analysis in the description box. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing to our channel to be notified about new stories from the region.